Hello, welcome to ITV News Meridian.
The headlines in the southeast. The search for Sarah Everard, a policeman from Kent, is under arrest as a house in Deal is searched.
30 miles away, police have spent the day combing dense woodland near Ashford. More than 100 officers involved in the search.
Also tonight, dozens of children in Brighton miss out on their local school because of a shortage of places. For some, it'll mean a 2-hour commute.
Everyone should be able to walk to school, and getting like 3 buses is just not really fair.
And on the Kent coast, battered by the North Sea, a valiant remnant of the past. But what was this tower once used for? Good evening to you. Police have been searching woodland near Ashford and a house in Deal as a police officer from Kent is under arrest tonight for the kidnap and murder of a missing woman.
Hundreds of officers are involved in the search for Sarah Everard. The 33-year-old marketing manager went missing near her home in London a week ago. Last night, police revealed a serving police officer from Kent had been arrested. Today, a house in Freeman's Way in Deal has been searched. The focus then switched to woodland 30 miles away near Great Chart Golf and Leisure Park, southwest of Ashford.
We are live tonight at both Deal with Sarah Saunders and Great Chart with John Ryle for the latest developments on this fast-moving story. First, Sarah Saunders, early on the scene in Deal this morning. Her report contains some flashing images.
First thing this morning, officers were on the scene, searching this house in Deal, after a serving Metropolitan Police officer was arrested in connection with the disappearance of 33-year-old Sarah Everard. A tent was erected outside the property in Freeman's Way, where forensic searches are being carried out. 2 cars were lifted off the driveway and taken away for further investigation. And police officers have been calling door to door, where residents reacted with shock.
They don't know where this young girl is. They're still looking for her, because you hear it on the news and you think, oh. But it didn't even occur to me that it was about that.
There's police there and cars been taken. It's a bit scary considering, it's only, a few doors down.
I said to my friend, I wonder what's gone off there. And then when we came through the flats on the way back from the walk, I saw this tent going up. And I said, must be an incident. And I said, oh no, it's a policeman that lives there. He's having some work done. That's all I believed it was.
Sarah Everard was last seen in South London last Wednesday as she walked home from Clapham Junction to Brixton. Extensive searches were carried out, but the focus of the investigation switched to Kent after the arrest of the serving London officer and father late last night. The Met says he was not on duty at the time of Ms Everard's disappearance.
The fact that the man who's been arrested is a serving Metropolitan Police officer is both shocking and deeply disturbing. I recognise the significant concern this will cause. As a father myself of 4 young women, I can only imagine the anguish that Sarah's family are feeling at this very, very difficult time.
Sarah's boyfriend and family have continued to express their deep concern for her whereabouts. And today, while saying they hope she will be found alive, officers carried out searches of woodland areas around Kent.
Sarah is live now in Deal for us. Sarah, what more do we know about the officer involved?
Well, he has been named locally, but not officially by the Metropolitan Police. They did confirm today, though, that the officer involved was originally arrested on suspicion of kidnap and then further arrested on suspicion of murder and another allegation of indecent exposure. Though he hasn't been named, they said he is part of the Parliamentary and Diplomatic Protection Command, which means he's involved in the uniform patrol of diplomatic premises.
And Sarah, there was a second arrest last night as well.
Yep, that's right. A woman was arrested on suspicion of aiding someone who had done something wrong, aiding an offender. And as you can see behind me, things have been going on here all day long, and a metal fence has been erected around this property, suggesting that investigations will continue here for some time.
Sarah Saunders in Deal, thank you.
Well, the focus of the investigation switched to Great Chart near Ashford earlier today, 30 miles from the house in Deal, as police began combing woodland near the Golf and Leisure Park. Live now to John Ryle. John, what's been happening there?
Well, behind these gates, a major police operation continues tonight on the site of what was a Great Chart Leisure Centre. It closed 2 years ago. It's pretty derelict and abandoned now. And since early this morning, very early this morning, it's been the focus of a huge police search involving 100+ officers searching buildings, ditches and land close to the main line, the rail line that runs along one edge of this site. Now, the police are giving us little or no information about the progress of this search, but we do understand that forensic teams are now at work here. This location is some 30 miles from Deal, where the serving Metropolitan Police officer was arrested, some 60 miles from Clapham Common, where Sarah Everard was last seen a week ago tonight. This is the main area of police activity, but there have been other searches, other search zones, woodland areas up to 2 miles from here, and floodlighting has gone in here on police vehicles, so clearly they're gearing up to continue this search through tonight and potentially into tomorrow.
John, live in Great Chart, thank you.
On to other news. 2 teenagers in Sussex have been removed from the care of their parents after West Sussex County Council Social Services told a judge of concerns about the children's weight. The family court has ruled the youngsters must go into long-term foster care after Fitbits and paid-for gym membership had failed to make a difference.
Plans for a new train station in North Kent have been revealed as part of a £170 million spend by Medway Council. One option includes the reopening of the Isle of Grain railway line, which will serve 12,000 new homes on the Hoo Peninsula. A consultation is underway.
A train at Brighton Station has been converted into a COVID testing centre. Carriages on Platform 8 has been kitted out with protective screens and equipment to regularly check over 1,000 rail workers. Southern Railway hope the scheme and a 30-day virus killer being sprayed on surfaces will give people confidence to travel when we're allowed to do so.
We really wanted to test our colleagues to make them feel safe and to give customers the reassurance that when they're interacting with our staff that they have been tested and it's safe to come back to the railway. So the idea for this came about of looking at how we could use extra space, and having this train in the platform was a really good way of putting a testing centre together for people.
It's also keeping the passengers safe and obviously the wider community as well. As obviously the vaccines roll out, there's still those that are waiting to be vaccinated, and it just gives peace of mind.
A group of parents whose children have not been offered a place at any of their local secondary schools in Brighton Hove say this is another blow to their children's mental health.
Well, in some cases, children will have to take 2 or more buses and travel for an hour each way. More than 2,000 people have now signed a petition. Charlotte Wilkins reports.
10-year-old Amber Harris enjoys walking to school with friends, but come September, she'll be travelling alone by bus, starting a new secondary school on the outskirts of the city.
There are 7 state schools which are closer to us than the school that we've been allocated, and it's just been really heartbreaking trying to support her and give her the kind of confidence and the ability to manage the uncertainty that she now has in her life around moving on to secondary school.
Amber is one of 62 children who has missed out on a secondary school place in their catchment area in Brighton this year.
Everyone should be able to walk to school, and getting like 3 buses is just not really fair.
Instead of being able to walk to their catchment schools of Dorothy Stringer and Varndine, the children will now need to catch at least 2 buses to travel 4.5 miles across the city to their allocated school. It will mean leaving the house around 7 o'clock to get to Long Hill, ready for the school day to start at 8:15.
I know in 2018 they had the same problem, and there was a big hoo-ha then, and they talked about building a new school, But the schools came together and said, look, we don't need this. This is a bulge. There's a bulge that goes on into Johnny's year. These schools would just accept them, so they didn't build the new school. And I just assumed it had all been decided and they would all be accepted. So I was really shocked, actually, and really upset.
Nearly 2,500 people have already signed a petition against the decision. The council says it's down to capacity.
It's like there's not enough classrooms. One of them already has temporary classrooms on the site. There's not enough space in the corridors. There's not enough canteen facilities. How do they make staff work? And when we looked at it, unfortunately, as much as we really don't want to be in this position, sadly, there was no other option but to say that we had to allocate them elsewhere.
Now, instead of excitement, the children are looking forward to the next stage of their school lives with disappointment and anxiety, which parents fear could be more damaging for their education and their well-being. Charlotte Wilkins, ITV News, Brighton.
You're watching ITV News here in the Meridian region. Thank you for choosing us. Coming up, have you missed this? Or have you been a stay-at-home keep fitter? The gym's getting ready to take the strain once again.
And restoring the past, 3 men on a mission to bring back the hidden history of the Great War in Thanet.
And of course you can find more on today's top stories in our region throughout the day and evening on our website. Go to itv.com/Meridian. You can call us on 0808 1010 095, and of course you can also follow us on Facebook and Twitter.
There's a warning tonight that many local councils could go bust because they've had to spend so much during the coronavirus crisis. The government have given them some extra cash, but opposition MPs say it's not enough. There are fears services will have to be cut across the South East. Live now then to our political correspondent Phil Hornby. Phil, just how serious is this?
It's pretty serious, Sangeeta. There's a report out today by the National Audit Office, an independent body that looks at how public money is spent. They recognise the government have given councils extra money, but there is a gap between the amount of money they've received and what they've had to spend. And it's been a double whammy really for councils because they've had to spend more on services because of the coronavirus, and their revenue has dropped too from things like leisure centres and swimming pools, and even parking fines have been far fewer of those over the last year. And it's left many councils feeling pretty broke.
They are in financial dire straits. Something like 4 out of 5 district councils across the country are now not going to be able to make ends meet in their next budget. And what that means for people is the only thing left then is diminished services. My view, and the Liberal Democrat view, is that that's not right. It's time to make sure that councils are properly funded.
So what could be cut? Well, things like library services could be targets. But to be honest, a lot of what local councils do are core essential services that they have a legal obligation to provide. And many councils will tell you that they've suffered so many cuts, including, incidentally, when the Liberal Democrats were part of the coalition government, that there is nothing left to cut. There are, incidentally, local council elections in most places in the South East in the first week of May.
Phil, thank you.
Well, the ITV Evening News Hour continues for the national and the international news at 6:30. They are also leading on the search in Kent for missing Sarah Everard. With the details, Mary Nightingale.
Coming up in the programme, a police officer is arrested on suspicion of murder over the case of Sarah Everard. Investigators have today been searching areas of Kent. We'll have the very latest a week from Sarah's disappearance. Also tonight, Piers Morgan says he has no regrets after quitting GMB. As it emerges, Meghan complained about him directly to ITV. And the story of Chanua, the black rhino who's leaving Yorkshire for a new life in the wild in Tanzania. Well, do join me for those stories and more at 6:30.
Now, the UK fitness industry has been hit hard during the pandemic, with gyms and fitness centres having to close when COVID restrictions have been brought in. However, many classes have moved online. So when the gyms open again next month, how many people will abandon the convenience of stay-at-home keep fit? Kevin Ashford reports.
Time after time, gyms and fitness centres have come to a halt because of the pandemic. Even socially distanced exercising hasn't been enough to keep them open. The government says gyms will be able to reopen from April the 12th at the earliest, if its roadmap out of lockdown stays on track. Staff at this gym in Maidstone say they're looking forward to having their members back.
People being at home, a lot of them have probably ended up quite sedentary, myself included, and we just can't wait to get back to the gym, and I'm sure a lot of people are feeling the same way. So, if anything, I'd be inclined to spend even more to go to the gym now than I would previously because, I haven't been able to go for so long.
The fitness industry is an important part of the economy, which was worth £2.12 billion when the pandemic started. However, one estimate predicts that value could be reduced to £1.62 billion because of the effect of COVID-19 restrictions. Many gym instructors and users have taken to the internet to keep up their fitness routines during the pandemic. Lewis Paris says his fitness business will offer both in-person and online classes once gyms reopen. He says the internet has boosted client numbers.
We've benefited big time. Again, I'm working with people overseas as well through the online offering. I'm working with people in the south of the country, up north, you know what I mean? So whether they're doing one-to-one or group sessions, they're managing to get online and have a workout, keeping busy, staying active and enjoying it. So it's been a huge benefit in terms of having that infrastructure there, in terms of having it online and we can reach more people.
Lucy Speciali has taken part in fitness classes both on and offline. She says she'll be mostly sticking with online, even when gyms reopen.
I won't be rushing back in because I can sort of do the same on Zoom. Obviously, there's pros and cons. The cons are you don't see people in the flesh, but the pros are, again, it's convenient, you can do more, you can fit more into your day, and I say, generally very good value for money.
There are some hopeful signs for gyms. According to one survey, 42% of gym members said they would return as soon as facilities reopened. But there's no doubt fitness habits have been changed by the pandemic, like so many aspects of our lives. Kevin Ashford, ITV News.
So it'd be interesting to see what choices people make.
Sarah, for you and me, it's going to be marathons.
Of course it is, Fred. I'll see you there.
Thanks very much.
Now, historians in Thanet have just discovered that concrete blocks that have been lying on a beach for decades are from rare Great War pillboxes.
Yes, they were known to be used for defending our shores in the Second World War, but until now, no one knew they were originally made to be fortified gun posts for the First World War.
And now locals have pieced one of these Moya pillboxes back together again. Here's Abigail Bracken.
Exposed by the tide. At Botany Bay on the East Kent coast is now the only known restored pillbox of its kind in Britain.
I've seen them before in Belgium and I've seen them in France where they were erected for World War I. I didn't think there was one at the end of my doorstep, at the end of the road. There is. So it's quite fascinating to get this close and personal and sort of physically, feel how heavy the blocks are and how the actual pillbox was made. So it's a little bit peculiar to sort of see it down here on the beach.
Nearly 2,000 of them were made in Richborough near Sandwich over 100 years ago.
This pillbox here did not start life here. The sections were designed to be used on the Western Front, France and Belgium, and they were designed by Edward Muir, who was actually part of the War Office, and he patented them, and the idea was that they could be built in sections, as we see here, could then be cast at Richborough, taken to France and Belgium, and a team of men could then build a 6-foot circular pillbox in one evening, using those blocks like a big Lego set.
But they didn't all make it to the trenches. Some were built into garden walls in Broadstairs, and others used for sea defences in the Second World War. This line here at Botany Bay was the base for oil pipes out to sea.
In this country, had Germany struck,
flame would have met the invaders by sea, land and sky. From submarine pipelines, oil bubbles to the surface. As the dark patches merge together, they're electrically ignited from the shore, and the sea bursts into flame.
What's left still remains on the beach. When the tide has been rough here, then the sand gets stripped away and dozens of these segments get exposed on the beach here. And for something that's over 100 years old, this one has barely been weathered at all. So when a history group discovered their original use, locals put together 47 pieces to make this pillbox. Now historians say it needs protecting.
There are none that I know of in Britain. The ones I have seen are actually down towards Amiens. There's two at least at Ypres in Belgium, but none in the UK. So the idea of actually having that little bit of military heritage preserved means that this could be really quite a unique collection of components to build what wouldn't be a replica, it would be the real thing.
The real thing that historians want removed from this beach and the risk of erosion, so this rare piece of history can be preserved for our future. Abigail Bracken, ITV News, Broadstairs.
Also preserved for our future, Sir Winston Churchill slippers, and they've been sold at a Sussex auction for 4 times their asking price. The monogram blue velvet shoes were bought by a private collector for almost £40,000. The wartime leader's brandy glass fetched £15,000.
You took size 10s, did you know
Yeah,
that?
I did actually.
Philippa Drew standing by with the weather forecast, but first the RNLI has issued a warning tonight urging the public to stay safe along the coast.
Well, as these pictures show, it's already been very choppy and winds are expected to strengthen further this evening and tomorrow. The RNLI says if people are out walking, then our coastlines are particularly dangerous, especially along exposed cliffs, seafronts and on piers.
It's not the kind of conditions that you want to be taking chances in and around the coast. So the conditions are quite challenging, whether you are familiar with the coastal environment or not. So our main advice is just to stay nice and warm and dry and probably keep away from the coast if possible.
So we've all been warned. With the details then, let's now get the full forecast from Philippa Drew.
Great Western Railway sponsors the ITV Meridian weather.
Good evening. It certainly has been a wet and a windy day out there for all of us, and the Met Office have a yellow wind warning coming into force this evening, taking us right through the night and well into tomorrow as well. Gusts inland in the region of 50 miles per hour and along the coast perhaps as high as 70 miles per hour. All thanks, of course, to low pressure very much in charge today, and it remains the case through the next few days. Further low pressure systems rattling in off the Atlantic and tightly packed isobars indicating a continuation of some pretty windy conditions to come. Out there at the moment then, still some rain lingering, but that will gradually head off eastwards through the course of this evening, and for the rest of the night it'll be a mixture of clear spells and scattered blustery showers. Some of those showers quite heavy, perhaps even a little hail or thunder thrown in as well. But the winds will be the real feature overnight. As I said, gusts in the region of 70 miles per hour along the coast there. So a very windy start to the day tomorrow. Sunny spells and blustery showers from the word go, and little change as we head into the afternoon, continuing that windy blustery theme with further showers spilling our way. Now temperatures on the face of it don't look too bad, 10 or 11 Celsius in the best of the sunshine, but it's not going to feel especially pleasant in those strong winds. High tides for tomorrow then for Brighton, 10:05 in the morning, 10:34 in the evening, and then for the next few days we'll still blustery showers and windy conditions through Friday and Saturday, perhaps something just a touch quieter, still breezy though on Sunday.
Great Western Railway sponsors the ITV Meridian weather.
Next year it's the ITV Evening News with Mary Nightingale.
Sangeeta's got our late news here at about 10:45, but for now, from the team here at ITV Meridian, thanks for watching, take care, stay safe from all of us.
See you later. Bye-bye.
Bye.